I have gazed on the enigmatic Sutton Hoo helmet at the British Museum in London on many occasions. It is an object so iconic that it's sometimes possible to look at it and barely register what it is or what it means, even if you know both of these things. But I will be looking at it differently on my next visit, thanks to a trip nearly 100 miles away from it, to the place where it, and much more, was discovered, Sutton Hoo in Suffolk. Such is the importance of place in understanding history that standing next to the burial mounds at Sutton Hoo feels entirely different from studying artefacts behind glass, no matter how impressive or significant they are. Here, the landscape itself carries the weight of history. The sweeping views over the River Deben, the undulating ground beneath your feet, and the knowledge of the treasures once buried here make the past feel immediate. Sutton Hoo is not just an archaeological site, but a gateway into the world of the Anglo-Saxons. The burial mounds themselves are spectacular, dominating the landscape and hinting at the power and significance of those interred within. Walking amongst them gives a sense of the ritual and ceremonial use of the site, while climbing the observation tower offers a bird's eye or a god's eye view of the layout, emphasising the deliberate arrangement and scale of the complex. The mounds are smaller than those at Gamla Uppsala in Sweden, but the similarity in design and purpose highlights connections and potentially a shared culture across the North Sea, and the importance of monumental burial in early medieval Northern Europe. Reenactors on site entertainingly demonstrated early medieval crafts. Blacksmithing, textiles, garnet jewellery making, and weapon production showed the skill and ingenuity of the period. Each activity gave a practical sense of how objects were created and used, moving them out of display cases and back into daily life. People in 7th century clothing added to the impression. The bright colours and detailed designs challenged the idea that the Anglo-Saxon world was plain or dull. No dark ages here. Their presence around the site made it easier to picture how the people of the time might have lived, worked and presented themselves. I enjoyed detailed discussions with exhibitors focusing on the famous Sutton Hoo helmet itself, using a high-quality replica to explain its symbolism. The designs are closely linked to Woden, the chief god of the Anglo-Saxon pantheon, and the English cognate of the Norse Odin. The helmet was not designed as practical armour, but as a ceremonial object, carrying the weight of ritual and kingship. Like a crown, it signalled authority, belief and power, placing its wearer in a world where rulers drew legitimacy from the divine. I even got to try it on myself. But more than that, its repeated symbolic invocation of Woden appears to render the wearer the very incarnation of the god of frenzy, poetry and war. Elsewhere on the site, the house of Edith Pretty, who owned the land and commissioned the first excavation in 1939, is now a museum. Inside are fine displays of both the discovery and the finds. Period photos of the shattered helmet, shield fragments, gold buckles, clasps and coins are all presented with context, showing the scale of what was uncovered and the weight of the achievement in reconstructing them. They also showed photos of the incredible burial ship. The museum also rightly highlights Edith Pretty's role in making the excavation possible in the first place. Replicas of items thought to be connected with the helmet wearer, Radwald, King of the East Angles, are also on view. These include a sceptre with clear allusions to Woden, a shield and a reconstructed burial boat. Radwald belonged to the Wulfingas dynasty, and evidence suggests links with Vendel-era Sweden. Even the helmet's decorative pressbleck designs resemble Scandinavian work, like the Torslunda plates. With the similar burial mounds at Gamla Uppsala, together they suggest connections between early medieval England and the wider world across the North Sea. Visiting Sutton Hoo brings the Anglo-Saxon world into focus in a way no museum display alone can. The beautifully recreated crafts, the mounds, the detailed ceremonial helmet, which is looking at you from cases, signs and souvenirs from all angles, and the stories of those who lived there, all combine to make the past tangible. Sutton Hoo is a place where history can be seen, touched and understood, a reminder that the people of early medieval England were creative, closely connected to the wider Germanic world, and very much alive in their own time. In short, this is a must-visit place for anyone interested in the Anglo-Saxons, early medieval England and Germanic Paganism. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share and most importantly subscribe. And you can also support the channel on Subscribestar via the link in the description or via YouTube's Super Thanks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.